Here's a quick point that I don't understand. I never understood this about my father. It might be that he just wanted to stay out of it and he didn't really care what might have happened to me as a result. But when it came to pills, opiates, weird medications, like he was prescribed Percocet, Oxycontin. He never filled a prescription of Oxycontin, and he had plenty of Percocet, but he never took it. Never took it, never filled it. His doctor would give it to him, wouldn't fill it. I asked him, why haven't you filled these? Why don't you take them? Why don't you use them? Told me, oh, well, I believe what I hear about that. I don't want to end up addicted or a junkie or an addict or addicted or I'm not about any of that, and that makes sense. That makes sense. So you're believing that opiate pills are bad in excess. Great. That's a great mindset. But where I go wrong, and so many other people went wrong, is we listened to our doctors. When our doctors sent us home and told us to take 3 a day of this bottle of pills, we listened. And when I was little, you listened for me. My father listened for me. That is not okay. That is not okay. If you think there's something up with with taking your own medication that you're bringing home, and that just might be a bad idea, then maybe you should be very cautious about any medication, especially multiple medications. That just seems, because your own doctor told you to take 3 a day, and millions of other people were told to take 3 a day, and bad things happened and followed. But see, my father he's very good. He gives very good advice. He's a very, very smart man. He is. But he's also very weak when it comes to his wives. Absolutely weak. The weakest willed man I ever saw when it came to his own wife. He'll take his sons, not just me, his other sons, throw them under the bus in a second, ignore and completely let us get harmed as long as his wife doesn't get mad. And that's his weak point. That's where he goes numb. A little bit of greed, a little bit of putting work over family, but nothing terrible. But he has a terrible weakness with his wives. Gives in no matter how bad things get, no matter how awful or how wrong things get. And because of that, sometimes things go off the rails and he's not there for them to bring them back. And so they go further and further off the rails. My family, a lot of my family doesn't understand what's going on with them, but because I got to live and see the dynamic with my mother and my father, and now Alice and my father, I can see what's happening. My father's too weak when there's something his wife is saying that is totally off the rails, and it goes up a little notch every single year, every single month. It gets a little turned up. And there's no limit. See, my father doesn't have a limit. And women don't understand that with my father. You can turn that knob around and around and around until you're torturing a child. And that he is not gonna bark. And that's what I never understood about him, is that one little detail. No, when it comes to his own health, his own values, he's great. But when it comes to me or his wives, there's some real weak points that are ugly. And I don't understand them a lot, but I've tried to, and I understand where a lot of the blindness to the actions that's right in front of him is. And yeah, I mean, he picks up on what I do like a heartbeat. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that he should have picked up on me that I just completely just let him, you know, right over his head. Just nope, didn't even pick it up. Um, yeah, me and Seth sometimes laughed about it when one would go past. Um, Patricia, she would just make up stuff. That was the worst part. Patricia would just, we couldn't even try that with her. No, no, no. She was always making up stuff. We always were just trying to prove that she was one of her crazy stories or something. We always were scared. Well, Seth was scared of her and then just wanted nothing to do with her. Me, I was scared of. Well, first I wasn't scared of her. Then a couple things happened, and started to get more and more worse and scarier and scarier. And as more and more things happened, and I figured out that this was really bad. Yeah, I wanted to stop.